Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to another session of Wxpo Wednesday. Wxpo is a Women's Expo, is a digital movement which brings together impact creators like you and builds them to impact multipliers. Wexpo aims to support and build 10,000 women led initiatives to socialize, that is calling networking with people across the globe, to skill up, to actually enhance their skills and develop themselves both personally and professionally. And last but not the least, to scale up. Everybody's businesses need global connections. And that's exactly what Wexpo does. We love empowering women to use the sustainable development goals in their businesses through our global network, our super market intelligence, and most importantly, the business opportunities that we have to offer. Today, we have a very interesting topic at Wexpo Wednesday, and that is these women are very, very close to my heart, and that is guiding growth, unlocking potential. These women today who are with us on our studio, other women are those impact creators who've multiplied, grown, and supported businesses globally. They are influencers, inspirational thought leaders, innovators, accountable, supportive, and most important, dedicated for you to succeed. They are into leadership development, coaching, mentoring, and bringing out the best in you. They are very, very strong, successful, and amazing in what they do. I'd like to welcome our first business coach, Trisha. Trisha Evans is a
Hi.
secret weapon, as clients rightly describe her. Is that true, Trisha?
Yeah, several clients have described me as that.
Beautiful. She has lived in the UAE for 31 years and is one of the first business coaches in Dubai. Be successful on purpose. I love that. That's how all her work is psychologically in action and style wise. But be careful, she's extremely focused on business, being grounded and practical. Trisha is very holistic in her approach, and it's important to have all the key elements in your life be in sync to be truly successful. Trained as a coach in Ashridge Business School in the UK and has a master's in management education, her business includes a wide experience of being a business coach, a faculty, and 10 years in the FMCG industry in the UK. Welcome, Trisha. And
Okay, thanks. Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to ask you, Trisha, how does one choose a coach who's a great fit? I mean, the right one. How does one go about choosing that?
Oh, well, a great question. And really, I loved in the title of this whole day, it's about unlocking potential. And coaching is really a series of helpful conversations, that really help people get where they want to be. So to choose a coach who's a great fit, I mean, first thing, it helps to think through what do you want to coach for? Now, I'm a business coach, but you can be there's life coaches, there's health coaches, there's sports coaches, whatever. So the sort of things people would come to me for is they're looking for a new job, perhaps, or they're struggling in a role and they need help with a new role, or they need help with the team, or they're being groomed for promotion. That's quite a big one. Or they've got a business and they want to scale it. And occasionally it's people who have worked in corporate for years and they want to leave and run their own business. So it really helps if people have thought through, what is it I'm actually looking for? And then it's about research. It's like anything. Do your research. Ask people for recommendations. LinkedIn is fantastic for finding out who's around, who does what. Look at the words people use. And, you will tune in to some people and you'll tune out of others. And so get a feel for, who's the right sort of fit. And 100% choosing a coach is a great fit. Meet them. So meet them, even if it's online, a Zoom call or a call like this or whatever, but ideally face-to-face, but I coach around the world, so it could be anywhere. But basically, you're checking for a number of things. This is going to be a relationship that could go on for several months. So you need to like them. You need to feel as though it's compatible. You need to feel as though you feel safe with this person. And I think that's probably one of the most important things for any coach, any counselor, any consultant really, make your clients feel safe. So that's really important. So you're looking for the signs there. Does it feel like they can help you? You know, if you've decided you wanted to scale a business, for example, does this person have any experience? Experience with entrepreneurs? Are they operating at the right level? Because you want somebody who sort of gets it and gets your world. Because at one level, I coach people across a whole range of industries, but it's the level that's important for credibility, and so that credibility on both sides. I also think it's useful to have a plan. I think I was the first coach in the UAE, but there are thousands of coaches now, and there are some fantastic coaches. There really are. And I am very proud of the coaching profession, and I'm proud that there are so many great people entering it. But there's a lot of people who shouldn't be in it. They're not professional. So you need to check, is there a plan? Basically, do they know what they're doing? Because I hear some people say, oh, I like talking, I think I'll be a coach. And I think, oh my goodness, that's not who we need in the profession. So do they have a plan? If I'll use that scaling your business example, are they helping you? Can they help you? What's the plan? Where are you going with this sort of process? A good coach asks questions. And I think I'm talking now, but in a coaching session, I have a 90, 10%, 10% me talking, 90% them talking. And I think any good coach will operate to that, or absolute most, 20% the coach, 80%, which is fundamentally different from telling. So in your chemistry session, I call it chemistry session when you meet people, and it works both ways, is your coach asking you the right questions? Are they making you go deeper and really sort of going deep? And then do you feel as though they get you? Do they understand you? Do they understand where you're coming from? So this is all about the person, and you're going to have a relationship with this person. So it needs to work. It needs to fit. I'm very clear how I want to come out online to people when they meet me. I'm very clear that I want to be seen as a safe pair of hands. I'm not going to say, oh, I'll make you a millionaire in the next 3 weeks, but it's very much, okay, let's figure out what you want to do with your business or your career, or what sort of job you're looking for. And I want them to feel that I can help them make that shift. And I think any good coach will give you that sense that they can help you, and they're on your side, really, really sort of great. Other thing is, do they listen? That's super, super, super important. And I've coached probably now about well over 8,000 people. Now that's only important in the fact that you see patterns and you recognize patterns. And so many people say that they feel overwhelmed, and also that they don't feel heard or seen. Or, so to be in a space with a coach who listens, really listens, and is really on side and wants to help you move forward, it's powerful. It's really powerful. And then I suppose a sort of a final sort of thing in that respect is they're following up that chemistry session. Does their follow-up reflect the conversation? Do you feel as though, right, I'm in a safe pair of hands here. This is great. This is somebody I want to spend some time with because they can help me. Whoa. So does that answer the question, Saggy? Does that help?
Beautiful. Yes, because I feel a lot of people get confused on how should I choose my coach.
Yeah.
And, are they looking at a scale up? Are they looking at, just understanding where they need to head? And I think you've hit the nail there of all the points that you've included. So thank you very much,
Good.
Trisha. And I look forward to the next 1 hour with all your invaluable insights to different
Okay.
things that we're discussing.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks, Saggy. Thanks. Okay.
We have now Patty. Patty Kennedy has been in business of developing individuals for more than 30 years. Her entire profession career has been as a teacher, trainer, coach, speaker, writer, and mentor. Her clients come from 120 countries, all looking for a better, more effective way to speak, communicate, and present, and obviously lead. She's considered to be a global thought leader in the field of voice and communication. Patty, we really need to sit after some time and really discuss this. I'd love this. Patty is a seasoned professional speaker, an MC, speech coach, leadership development specialist, strategic communications trainer, and voice coach, and most important, accent reduction teacher. She's a former radio journalist with the Broadcast News, Canada's largest radio network. Welcome, Paddy, and I absolutely love this. I had a query for you. As a voice coach, how does mastering one's voice contribute to personal and professional growth? And why is like the vocal presence so essential for leaders striving to unlock potential within their teams? Love to hear your views.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me onto this forum this afternoon. And good afternoon to all of our guests on YouTube and LinkedIn, and also to my fellow colleagues who are with us today. I have been a coach for a very long time. It's quite a bit longer than 30 years, but we won't talk about that right now. I'm a leadership development specialist, and I'm also a strategic communication coach. I work in accent reduction. I do have a very global audience. And I think one of the most important skills that I bring to the table is my experience as a former radio broadcaster. I entered radio school, broadcasting school at the Toronto National Institute of Broadcasting in 1990. And in those days, we had to take TV and then radio. And at some point, we had to make the decision, will we do television or will we do radio? And I fell in love with radio because I fell in love with the human voice, the potential, the power of the human voice. And a lot of times when I collaborate with other coaches who are professional speaking coaches, I say, I'll do the voice. And they look at me like, huh? The other day I was having coffee with someone who's very well respected in the field. And he said, I think you should downplay the work you do in voice. I said, everybody who doesn't understand the superpower of the human voice says that to me. I chose voice simply because you have to learn how to tell the story without any props, without any nonverbal cues, without lights, action, camera. You're just there either in the field as a reporter or in the little booth in the radio station, and your job is to keep people listening by using this magnificent instrument. The poet Wordsworth said that the human voice is the instrument of the soul. Now think about that for a moment. And Richard Strauss of the great Strauss family said that the human voice is the most magnificent of all the instruments, but it is the most difficult to play. Why? Because it is at once a wind instrument, rather like an oboe or a flute, because sound is made as the voice comes from the diaphragm and goes across your vocal cords. But it's also like a beautiful Stradivarius violin, because as you master and learn how to vibrate those vocal cords, your voice has the ability to resonate all the way to every person in that room. I always say to my clients, whether you're a leader, a communication strategist, or whatever it is that you're doing, even young people, when you stand on a stage or at the front of the room, not only are you on the stage, but you are everywhere in the room. And do you know, my friends, this is the magic of the voice, and this is why we ought to pay attention to it. The voice is a vibration. The vibrational quality, the resonant quality of your voice actually has the ability to enter into the imaginations and the brains of your listeners and can create new neural pathways, new synapses, new firings, so that your audience will think about what you're talking about in ways they've never thought of before. So if you're a salesperson, or if you're a coach and you're working with your client and you really want them to grasp the concept, or you're selling whatever it is, product, service, you're a parent and you want your children to listen, you're a spouse and you're arguing with your significant other. When you know how to use this magnificent instrument, you can really have a tremendous impact on your audience and the way they think. I call it the superpower. So I want to, just before I go, because I know my time goes by and I could give lectures, as you can tell, for hours on this. One thing all of you in the audience can do starting today, if you want to develop good, strong resonance in your voice so that everyone feels your message, because the best message is the message that is felt. Hum. Hum high, hum low, hum in between, hum. Hum for 5 minutes a day, and in 30 days, your voice will impact your audience.
I'm going to start doing that right now. That's lovely, Patty, and I'm looking forward to everything that we're going to have in our conversation. So thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Our next guest, Dr. Nada, she is amazing, and I think she works in a sector that I love a lot. That's with the youth. Nada, you are a seasoned leader in the intersection between education, financial strategy, and social enterprise. I think I love what you're doing. And as a co founder and managing director of Impactive in UAE and Lebanon, you've channeled your expertise into driving human capital development and youth empowerment programs to so many innovative mentoring sessions. Your initiatives demonstrate a commitment to fostering a professional growth and, of course, community engagement. Principles that are valued in leading social impact focused organizations. And I'm glad we had a good conversation on Wexpo. Your academic qualification includes a CPA certification and doctorate from the University of Manchester. And I know you've done a lot of publications. Your work at the New York, Abu Dhabi, and Abu Dhabi Education Council cannot go unnoticed, that's for sure. And the synergy that you bring on the financial acuity, the academic excellence, and the social impact really quantifies and speaks results on your volumes of what work you actually do. Dr. Nada, I had a quick question for this one. Is how do you feel that an individual professional can play a pivotal role in the economic empowerment for mentoring youth? I always feel that there is a broader impact on sharing knowledge and guidance on the young people's careers, readiness, their families, and most important, the communities that they support. We'd love your views on that.
Thank you so much, Sagi, for this great introduction. And I want to start by what brought me here. So, after 30 years of my career in both the corporate world, higher education, I decided to take like a short break, and this is where I started thinking, what impact did I make throughout those 30 years? And when I thought really hard, it was not, I mean, of course, I was very proud with everything that I've achieved, like on a professional level, but it was the people I impacted. And this is where I took a hard look at, everyone I had the opportunity to mentor, to support during my long career. And I thought, wow, this is the impact. And this is what brought me to wanting to amplify the impact of what we as professionals can do to support the younger generation through mentoring. So in my experience, mentoring is one of the most powerful ways for us as professionals to make a lasting impact, not only on the younger generation but on our entire communities. So mentorship goes beyond like giving a career advice. It's about sharing our experiences, our knowledge, our stories. It's about being vulnerable in front of the younger generation or in front of our mentees, and the purpose is to help them navigate their path and find great confidence and a sense of purpose. So when we step in as professional to mentor a younger student and graduate, we don't just support them in their CVs or in preparing for an interview. We actually give them way more than this. We give them a sense of possibility, a sense of resilience, a feeling that they have a voice and they can create their own path. And I've witnessed this again and again with all the student I mentor, and I had the opportunity to mentor hundreds of them from all ages. You can feel like directly the sense of confidence, the sense of purpose, directly after the first conversation, and that really sets the tone for what they are able to achieve moving forward. And for many people, especially in our region, there's a big gap between education and employability, or our graduates do not necessarily have all the necessary skills that will put them in a good place when they are start seeking employment. And this is where we step in. I mean, literally we can like just spend like 1 hour per month with one graduate and it will change their life. And it's not an understatement. I've seen that again and again. When we share our experience, our knowledge that we gathered throughout all those years, uh, and one-on-one, like we're just giving that. And I love Tricia when she spoke about like making client feel safe. It's the same concept in mentoring. It's creating a safe space where we both, like all mentors and mentee, can share their stories, experiences, and learn from each other. So we create a sense of they're capable. They can start dreaming big and start crafting their own path. And the impact of mentorship, again, based on like numerous experiences, it goes beyond that individual we're helping or supporting. It really helps build resilient communities. And what we have seen is people who have received mentorship, and because mentorship is not is done voluntarily on a pro bono basis, all the mentee in turn, they come and they support their community, they support others, and they mentor, and this create that cycle of giving back and building resilient communities. You're muted.
That's a wonderful job you're doing, Dr. Nara, and it's amazing to see everything that you are actually working towards. So thank you
Thank
so much, and we'll definitely have more queries. I request everyone to start posting their questions for our three speakers that have already spoken right now. And we would like to welcome Ritu. Ritu Julka. She is the co founder of Co-Sculpt Human Resources Consultancies, an organization development specialist for 20 years of experience in the people arena. And what I love about Ritu is, as an organizational transformation specialist, you're very passionate about co creating with your clients. And I love the word co create. Your experience is across multiple disciplines in leadership development, culture orientation and transformation, organization effectiveness, HR advisory, and the most important, lovely work that you do is family next generation transition. I think that's something amazing because sustainable businesses do require the next round of leadership to be up and running. So, welcome Ritu onto this call. I do know that you have a wide region of different industries that you've worked with. I think it's retail, automotive, real estate, financial services, the big four consulting firms, as well as education. Ritu also works with leadership teams and enabling them to chart their transformational journeys effectively and tap into their full potential, successfully integrating business acuteness with a coaching mindset. You have great education qualifications also, the ICF, the PCC credentials, a leadership circle practitioner, and a certified ORSC coach and faculty at CRR Global. Oh my God, I can't even pronounce these. But welcome, it's amazing what you do actually.
Thank you,
I
Sagi.
am going to ask you to tell us from your perspective as a leadership development specialist, how can leaders cultivate environments where employees feel empowered to unlock their potential? And what role does authenticity play in fostering sustainable growth? I think I'm going to love your answer on this.
Thank you, Sagi. Thank you for that introduction, and a very good evening to all our listeners who are joining in from wherever you are. It's great to be here. The subject is really vast when we're talking about leadership, and we know how much goes into that, and I'm going to try and crisp it as much as possible, but really leaning into three ways in which we deal with organizations or work with organizations when we are talking about creating a safe environment for employees to draw on their full potential. Let me give you three simple ways to do this. One is what we call art. Now, this is really foundational because this is about the first thing A is for aligning. Leaders need to align their strategy, their vision, and their purpose amongst the leadership team and then across the organization. So when we talk about alignment, it's about communicating it across the group so the employees feel that they are a part of the bigger picture. When they feel a part of the bigger picture, there is a sense of I can do this or I'm contributing to it, and therefore they draw on their full potential. So aligning self and organization is critical to set that ground. Of course, it's a volatile world. We all know that today things are changing so quickly that leaders need to keep going back and reviewing and renewing what needs to be done, not only within the organization, but with the capability of people. And of course, then there is the T, which is stay 2 steps ahead. With the way the world is going, leaders need to be agile and aware. How are we always 2 steps ahead so that we can feed back into the capability of the organization and ensure that they are also working at the same pace? So that's probably the first thing in terms of setting foundation for the organization. Now, from here comes capability build. When we are talking of employees and we're talking about capability build, it's about ensuring that skills are transferable. Today, the way the world is going and the way the world of work is changing, especially with technology coming in, the whole piece around artificial intelligence and the way roles are changing, it's how do leaders keep in touch with what's going on in the technology space and ensure that capabilities of employees are harnessed accordingly. Here's an interesting thing. While we look at the standard stipulated ways of training, today the world has shifted. I loved, Dr. Nada, what you said around mentoring. Mentoring is one of those pieces that can be used keenly within organizations. When leaders set a mentoring process in place, they're actually sending a message to the employee to say, we care for you. We are willing to spend time with you and invest in you to share our experience and expertise. That goes a long way. Also, setting up a culture of ongoing learning, I think that is an important piece. When the leaders showcase that they are in the process of continuous learning and development themselves, this cultivates an environment of empowerment for the employees and nudges them to kind of draw on their full potential. So working with leaders, we often encourage to institute a system of 360 assessment within the leadership cadres itself. Because when leaders ask employees for feedback, here's a strong message going out to the employees. We want your feedback because we want to improve ourselves and we are constantly on the learning path with you. So that's a great way to promote it. In fact, in today's world where tech is going so fast-paced, I would say reverse mentoring is important. Imagine a CEO of a company leaning into an employee and saying, you're Gen Z, I'm a baby boomer. Tell me, how does retail work in your way? What do you look for? How do you buy? Or, you're great with tech. Will you be my mentor? Help me to learn this. Imagine the impact and the empowerment for the employee when a leader does this. So creating that is important. And lastly, I'd like to say that it's important to have the 3S's culture. What do I mean by 3S? Create safe soil, so that it is generative. People can ask questions. They can, be curious. They can experiment. Secondly, allow for slips, right? If an employee slips and mistakes are made, allow for that and let them grow from it. And the third is step up. Let them step up and start again. So soil, slip, and step up. And with this, you create brave leaders who are bold, who are resilient, who are agile, who are vulnerable, and who are energized. All of this with authenticity is what creates empowered environments and employees who lean into their potential. Sagi, I could go on, but I see you smiling, so I'm going to stop right here. Can't hear you, Sagi.
Yeah. It's lovely to always keep hearing you, Ritu, and I think our coffees and really serve the purpose. And I love what you said about, it's very important that, people do look at sustainable businesses. And everybody has did speak in some way that how everybody needs to be, getting the right kind of mentorships to have sustainable businesses. And that's a wonderful topic that you did touch on. You know what? We're going to have all our coaches on the call right now. And what I love to do is, ask all of y'all, um, why is coaching very, very useful? It's very powerful. And I feel what are the main benefits of working with a coach? Dr. Nada, would you like to start off, because you start off with the youth and then we'll have others give their opinion, because I feel that people do need to understand why is it so important to have a coach.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Sagi. I think as Tushia explained, coach is important at any point in your career, from like early career to a career transition, to even in my case, when you have a crisis, career crisis, a coach was the most important person I had to speak to. But for youth, I mean, if you talk about specifically why coaching is important for youth, it really provides them with clarity on, their strengths, who they are, what really motivates them, and what are their limiting beliefs. Because I think our youth do not really understand their strengths and appreciate it, and their limiting beliefs. So being able to put that on the table for them, they have clarity on what's going on, and what they should focus on, and it gives them confidence. I spoke about it, and that you can see in a minute, the confidence that they it brings to them, the self-reflection, and most importantly, in my opinion, the belief that they are capable, they can do things. I mean, it's not we're teaching them how to do, we're giving them the tools so that they can do it themselves, and create their own path.
Perfect. I love that. Trisha?
Yeah, I love that, Nada, and sort of building on that. I definitely think I often find when people are feeling overwhelmed by what's going on, and maybe they're stepping up, it is a transition time, and it's gearing them up for what's next. But seeing that shift from them thinking, oh my goodness, I'm feeling lonely here, I'm the only one this is happening to, and then suddenly the confidence that comes once they sort of know, right, I know what I'm doing now, and I've got a plan to work forward. I can do this. And it's great. It's really good. So it's cutting through that clutter. And in particular, it's interestingly, I hear more men say that. They say, I'm lonely. And I think the more senior people you work with, the fewer people they've got to talk to. And men in particular are not as good as we women at having networks. We've probably got people, outside work who we can talk to. A lot of guys don't. And so that can be a tremendously safe space, where they can say, I don't know what I'm doing, or help. And it can be powerful. So, but definitely transition, and definitely that confidence, and really making sense of what's happening, feeling great about where they're going. That's the power of a mentorings, coaching, whatever, and at any stage. Yeah.
Ritu?
So to add to what Trisha and Dr. Nada have said, I think, they've said a lot of valuable things here. I just want to also draw attention to systems coaching. Being a certified organization and relationship systems coach, I think organizations benefit deeply from systems coaching, because what happens when we say systems coaching, it's whenever two or more people come into relationship, a system gets formed. Now, when a system gets formed, you may coach the individual, but actually it's what's happening in that relationship that's important. So you're not just coaching the individuals, but you're coaching the system itself and generating the impact. So just to give an example, if it is interdepartmental conflict, these are two systems. Let's bring the systems together and coach the system rather than the individuals, and see the impact of the entire system shifting. Mm-hmm. So from my perspective, individual coaching is great. It works really well, but let's couple it in organizations with systemic work, and we'll see the impact that it brings across an organization in that situation, whether it's strategy, whether it's cascading, information, whatever it is, it works with the whole system then. You're just bringing the whole piece up.
Yeah. That's lovely. I think that next question is also going to we'll build the next question around what you said, Ritu. Patty, what are your views on the main benefits of working with a coach?
Well, I think the title of your program today, Guiding Growth and Unlocking Potential, I think that's what we do as coaches. Studies will show us now that people need to be heard and seen more than they actually even need to be loved. And I think as coaches and mentors, and what Rita's doing by sort of breaking down these silos and coaching the issue, what happens is people begin to hear themselves when we allow them that opportunity to speak. And we just sit and we listen. I was working with a woman this morning who was just so confident, but way down in her self esteem. And, you know, she just needed somebody to hear her. And I said to her, are you aware that something like 85% of our self talk is negative? And she said, no. So I just gave her a couple of little exercises, old fashioned cognitive restructuring. You know, you put the elastic around the wrist, and every time you hear yourself getting negative, you just snap it and you change it to something much more positive, the I am exercises. So I think the greatest gift that we give in these very trying times and times of great turbulation is we give people the opportunity to just speak, and we sit without judgment and we hold them. Sometimes we have to hold their heart in our hand while they heal themselves, but we hold space for them, whatever you want to call it. And when people are allowed that freedom of expression without judgment, they really discover their own potential. And I think this is the greatest gift that we can give our kids.
Yeah, that's so wonderfully put up together. Thanks, Patty. Trisha, I know you were recently in Singapore and you do work with organizations. So I want each one of you all to tell us in your experience, what strategies can leaders employ to align their messaging with organizational values? You all spoke about that right now. And ensuring that their vision inspires the collective growth at all levels.
Yeah, well, several points have been made already, but it is about alignment, and it's making sure people know why they're there. I am constantly amazed when I work in with a team and say, right, don't talk, just write down, why do you exist? Why does this team exist? And the boss is usually horrified because they come up with all sorts of stuff, you know, and I think, well, that's base one. Make sure you're all clear what you're there for, because how can you do it well unless you know? So really being clear about that, and making sure that, you know, visuals around the place, reminders, just so that it's built into team sessions, one-to-one sessions. So Ritu said before, you know, this "we care for you" message, the fact that one-to-ones, you matter, you're part of a team. I love the team and the team systems, and that's definitely something to look at as well, because we don't operate in isolation. And you know, you operate, you know, you've got a relationship with your boss, which needs to be good if you're going to work for somebody. You've got to operate with your team, you operate with your peers, operate with your senior leaders. And it's about really starting to understand and get it and where you fit and what's working, what's not, and what needs to be fixed. So it's about alignment, and it's not rocket science. It's get in a room and talk to each other and get clear and decide who's doing what. You know, that's the elements really. But helping people feel good about that.
It's lovely. Yeah, I'm sure Dr. Nada working with young youth. What strategies do these leaders employ? You would like to advise them? Yeah.
So yeah, I would add to Tricia is connecting the vision to reality in organization. So we have like many organizations that talk about ESG and their, you know, initiative towards the ESG and sustainable development goals, but then it doesn't always translate into reality or to everyday what people do inside the organization. And I want to give a small example. So we're working with an organization that wanted to create program to support human capital development and create their talent pipeline. And one of the things we advise them is like it cannot be an isolated project. It needs to bring everyone in the organization to this. So what they did is they kind of opened up to their senior manager to volunteer to mentor female student in STEM because that was the focus of this program. And by creating this, and initially they were like, we don't know if people like they're too busy. I don't know if they will be able to give time. And in fact, like we received more than triple the number of mentor application. And it's because, you know, there was a good communication. People felt, you know, they want to be part of this initiative, and their effort will be the organization will see their effort, and it will be appreciated.
And what do you have to say, Patty, about this?
Years ago, when I was a student in university, I studied the sociology of work, and it was quite shocking that the first reason why we go to work is because we're social animals. And we saw that in COVID, what happened to us when we could no longer meet in groups like that. The second reason we go to work is because we all feel that we want to contribute to something bigger than ourselves. And in my long career, I've worked with a lot of CEOs, some of whom were not necessarily nice people. But whenever I would speak to them about their children, they always wanted to make sure that they were contributing to a world that was better than what it was right now. I think it's self-actualization, as Maslow called it, is something that's very important to all of us. And the third reason that we go to work is for our paycheck. So when I interview CEOs, for example, when they bring me in to do teamwork, I say, what is the biggest problem that you think your staff are feeling? And they say, well, that we think that they don't belong. Well, are you aligning their professional vision with your vision of the company? Are you telling them, are you teaching them at all to think strategically rather than just being little bots sitting over here doing the work? Are you helping them grow? Are you helping them to feel that they are in fact contributing? And it's a very successful thing when CEOs allow that to happen, and when they realize that every one of us, from the janitor all the way up to the CEO, wants to make the world a better place. We all have gifts and we all want to give our gifts. And I think that that's at the center of I've been coaching over 50 years. And I can tell you, I've never met a human being yet who did not want to help to make this world a better place. I think we need to play into that and align the visions, our vision with their vision, their dreams with the company dream, the employee mission. Understanding employee well-being is the new bottom line in today's world. It's not that the bottom line isn't the profit. It's employee well-being, and working from that perspective. I think that's the best way to grow your organizations.
Yeah, that's lovely. And last but not the least, Ritu, we'd love your opinion on this topic.
Thank you, Sagi. Patty, I really loved what you said, about the purpose and leaning into that bigger purpose that people have. When we're talking about organizational values, I think what I've experienced often is that the values are words in the orientation packs that employees get. They're written all over, but what is the real meaning behind those values? What is it? How does it translate in terms of my behaviors? When I do something, is this aligned to the value? Or when I don't display it, is it going against the value? Organizations need to focus on that. Very often the same word could mean one thing for you and another thing for me. So how do I know, am I living it or am I not living it? And I think that's where that cascade is important. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. Leaders need to be clear about what do these values mean that we stand for within the organization? What are the behaviors that are acceptable and acknowledged? And transfer that across to the employees so they then begin to live the values. It's just a cascade constantly aligned to the bigger picture, as Patty was saying. So it's interesting how an organization I worked with, it was 2 generations of family. Generation 1 set values and said there is a value of pride. Second generation, when I spoke to them about pride, they said, well, this is contradicting because we are being told to be humble. How does humility and pride go together? And when we brought the 2 generations together to discuss it, and the elder generation said, well, this is pride of nation. This is pride of organization. The entire perspective of the second gen shifted. It's not pride about me being proud, right? So I think that's why within organizations, to transfer the real meaning and live it as leaders is what really brings life to values within organizations, makes it sustainable, drives the purpose.
That's lovely. I love each one's opinion. And I think what I'm hearing from everybody is that today's leaders are actually looking at more linear organizations, be it an entrepreneur, be it large organization, family offices, coaching. So everything is boggling down that everybody needs to understand the codependence as well as independence in the work that is coming along. I love this conversation. What I'd like to do is, because today's topic is SDG goal number 8, that is of decent work and economic growth. I would like each one of you all, and I know each one of you all have worked globally in 120 countries since 30, 40 years, working with different nationalities. And I love what the next question is about partnerships. What is more important is I would like to know how can partnerships between the educational institutes, private public sectors, and the social enterprises help bridge the skill gaps and prepare the entrepreneurs and the businesses for the evolving markets. And what are some of the best practices to ensure that these collaborations drive a sustainable economic growth? So let's start with you, Patty.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to go to what Dr. Nada has been saying. So much of this has to happen it has to start working with the kids in the schools and preparing them. I just filled out a questionnaire the other day on this very topic, right? How can organizations, government align themselves? And we've got to get in there with the kids, and we've got to teach them presentation skills, communication skills, leadership skills. Number one, I think that's got to start there with the youth, and mentoring them is so important beyond just teaching in the classroom. I think too that, and what Rita was alluding to before, it's time that we break down the silos. It doesn't matter where you come from. Let us come together in the spirit of collaboration. There can be, in my opinion, there can no more be me, you, him, her, but how can we come together? We're all professionals on this team right here. And how can we come together to help people improve and to make systems work better? So I don't know if any of you have read any of the work of my new favorite leadership coach, Keith Farazi, who's always talking about co-elevation, that we have to find a way that we all get to the finish line at the same time, that it can't be a competition anymore. I studied with Bob Proctor for years. He said, amateurs compete, professionals create. Let's stop competing from one area or one silo and the other, and let's come together, put our egos down, put ourselves down, and work for the greater good. I know I sound a little bit like maybe a Pollyanna, like I'm a little old lady who's got these rose-colored glasses, but I believe it, and the older I get, the more important I think it is. So for me, I think we've got to start with the kids. We've got to teach them they are worth it, that they deserve to be heard, that they deserve to be seen, that they are seen, and that we are listening. And then from there, I think we have to have an entrepreneurial mind. Even when I'm working with CEOs, I'm telling them, you've got to have an entrepreneurial mind now. You just can't, the worst words are, well, this is the way we've always done it. This is the way that's going to sink your ship faster than ever. They need to be agile. All of us need to be agile, collaborative, respectful. It's a new world that we're entering. And it can go one of two ways. It can either, pardon me, go to hell in a handbasket, or we can pull it up, raise it up, teach the children, respect each other, and hold all of ourselves to a higher standard.
I love that.
That's my take on
Yeah.
it.
And what do you suggest, Dr. Nada?
I love that, Patty, and I want to add, like, it's that partnership about taking a seat on the table. So instead of private sector organization keep saying, "Oh, our graduates are not ready. We can't recruit fresh graduates because they're not ready." Well, take a seat on the table. Like, come to the table, join hand with the education institute, and let's give them the skills they need. Let's give them the skills they need to understand, like, what it takes to succeed in the real world. Universities are doing the best they can, but like, there's only so much they can do. And then comes like the role of social enterprises, which, in my opinion, like, it brings everything together. It provides more accessibility to those programs, to support, like, yeah, the people who don't have a voice, the underserved communities, because it's our responsibility not just to support students who have access, but also students who do not have access, and give a voice to those who don't have a voice. And I think we can do that through those partnerships. Yeah.
Oh, I love this. Okay, because we're falling short of time, I'm just going to go directly to the questions. The question, Ritu, it's for you. It is Daljit Bashist is asking on LinkedIn, that, Ritu, how can we attract talent to a startup, especially when operating on a tight budget? Does selling the dream work?
It's really a good question, Daljit. Um, if the startup's purpose is clear and it's well communicated and it reaches out to the heart of the talent, I believe they buy in. I think there's a lot of talk around generational differences. And when you look at the current generation of Gen Zs, they're actually buying into purpose more than they're buying into budgets and salaries and where is it. They're looking for different opportunities. They're looking for, do we have time to do our own stuff and grow in multiple ways rather than just be in the function? Uh, what's the salary like? It's important, but they are moving beyond monetary conversations. So, yes, it's a hard one. Do dreams alone sell? No, they don't. But if the purpose, the vision, where they want to get is clear and aligns to what the next gen is looking at, believe me, you've got them in. So I hope that answers it.
Yeah, that's lovely. Any of you coaches would like to add to that question?
I can definitely relate to the Gen Z thing. I have a Gen Z daughter, and they've just built this amazing off-grid, solar-powered house, built with their own two hands in Bulgaria. And they're completely, her boyfriend's a woodworker, craftsman, and they're very much about a value-driven life. And it's, I mean, it couldn't be more different from where she was raised, really. So, but I definitely see a huge shift in generations, huge. Yeah. And we need to learn from each other. It's great. It's great.
That's wonderful. Okay, the next question is for Paddy. Paddy, what advice? No, sorry. What is your advice to speakers with a heavy accent on how to be understood by the audience? It's by Raisa at on YouTube.
Raisa, thank you. So what I'm going to say almost always blows people's minds. But the first thing I tell people when I work in accent reduction is your accent isn't your problem. You just don't know the rhythm patterns of my language. If you want to speak English, okay. All languages find their rhythm pattern in the indigenous music of their culture. So I'm from Canada. North American English finds its roots in jazz, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's a rhythm. So when people learn to it's sometimes pronunciation, but pronunciation's not that bad. I mean, there are some words that if you say wrong, you could really mislead somebody. But the best thing I think for people to do, I always use Jackie Chan as an example. Now I'm speaking as English. I mean, as an English reduction, accent reduction person. When you listen to Jackie Chan, you don't think the guy was born in California. You know he was born in China. But he's making buckets of money. Why is he making buckets of money? Because he's speaking in the same rhythm patterns that I am. So listen to people. If you don't have a coach to teach you, there's lots of stuff online. But one thing that you can do is listen to podcasts. Listen to us now. All of us, I've been noticing, all of us have a good, clear accent. So record it. Stop and start. Imitate us. When I pause, you pause. Because when we pause, that gives us the rhythm. And when you get the rhythm, then you get the musicality. It's not hard. It sounds hard, but it isn't. So listen to people whom you wish to sound like, I don't mean a person per se, but a group, and record them. Stop, start, stop, repeat. Start the next one, stop, repeat, and say it exactly the way I just said it. And before you know it, I happen to know Raisa, she has a Russian accent. I don't ever want to take out her mother tongue. That's not my job. Her mother tongue is her soul. But my job is to help her get on a stage and speak and be understood. So I teach her pausing. I teach her the 3 notes of the English language. I teach her the rhythm. It's as easy as falling off a log, but it's experiential and you have to practice. But accent's not your problem. Just develop your ear, practice, and it'll make a big difference.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Paddy. And I think we started off with the main question on coaching. I think, Trisha, I'm going to conclude this with you. The question has come from Mike on YouTube on how do you recognize that someone is ready to be coached?
talk to them. I think talking to people always, just find, this is where a one-to-one, sort of say where they want to go. Because when I first started coaching in this country, it's amazing. If I said I'm a business coach, people would literally go, whoa, nothing wrong with me. I don't need a coach. And I thought, wow, you're thinking this is remedial. Oh my God, this is the most amazing fast track tool ever. So it's about really tapping into finding out where people want to grow and want to develop. I think the worst thing you can do is say, you need a coach, because then it's like, whoa, it's remedial. So it's about how you position it as a fast track tool, which is why I'd always, if I was doing one-to-one, always have a chemistry session first to find out where they're coming from and find out what's in their head and find out what they already think. And, said before, it's not rocket science, but it's a really important dynamic relationship. And if you get it right from the start, it flies. It's lovely. But if it's dumped on somebody, worst thing ever. So talk to the guy who asked to talk to the person and find out what, where they want to grow, where they would like some help or whatever. So does that help? Hope that answers his question. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else would like to add on it, that how do you recognize when someone is ready to be coached?
They have to be coachable. And that happens in what you're calling the chemistry session, which I don't say to the client, but for me, it's an audition. I have to,
hey, I might change my word.
Well, it's true. I mean, it sounds